But right now, we're rolling on the Warriors as they host the Oklahoma City Thunder, the second youngest team in the NBA. Second youngest team in the NBA. Warriors, the third oldest team in the NBA, but they'll be without Steph Curry. He's day-to-day with the right knee sprain. That's good news. The bad news is Draymond Green's going to be out for 5 games. And really, 5 games coming up. He missed Thursday. That's 6. He missed his first 2 games of the season. That's 8. And he's been kicked out of 2 games. So he's missed 8 of the 12 games. Or excuse me, my bad. I shouldn't add that yet. That's bad math because he's going to miss the next 5. But he missed 2 of the 12. And he's been kicked out of 2 other games. 3 to 12, actually. And then kicked out of 2 other games, as my math is a little off. So he missed Denver. He missed the first 2 games. That's 3. He's been kicked out of 2. He barked up Anthony Edwards' tree. I mean, what a start to the season. What a start to the season.
Well, and all he's talked about, heading into this year was chemistry and camaraderie and teamwork and how everyone needs to be on the same page. Again, a lot of the things that he says I find so funny and fascinating, and we use it as content. But in terms of me riding or dying on everything that comes out of his mouth as the Holy Ghost, or excuse me, the Word of God is over. Like he's lost me a long time ago because he says one thing and then immediately pivots and does something else.
So he's going to miss 10 of the 17 games, 10 of the first 17 games, Draymond Green.
Not a great start to the season when everyone told us that the first 20 games were really important. Yeah. That was their whole offseason mantra. The first 20 games, we cannot get off to the same start that we did last year. It set us back.
And it's probably going to set this team back as they're 6-6. 6-6. Unbelievable. Let's go to the lines. Anthony and Benicia. What is happening, Anthony? You're on the roast.
Top of the morning, fellas. Top of the morning to both of you. So when it comes to Draymond, I wasn't surprised that it was 5 games. It's understandable considering his past record, right? He had his boys back, but yes, when you really look at the video a couple more times and you just see the level of intensity in the choke as well as grabbing his own hand to kind of like tighten more, yes, the league looked at all of that, and again, it was on national television. When it comes to are we willing to deal with this for the next 3 to 4 years, doesn't even matter as fans whether you are or are not, because the Warriors have told you that they are. And at every turn, they tell you, we got Dre's back. So at this point, we just got to roll with it.
That's where
when we talk about exactly.
That's exactly where I'm at.
When we talk about basketball, I think that this is a great opportunity to see what Steve Kerr can do, because you're going to be forced into integrating the youngsters. I think it was great to see BP, come out and give us that energy we need as far as and that aggressive scoring and playmaking. When it comes to Jonathan Kuminga, as a fan, I want to see more, but I think they're telling us that he's not showing them enough, because every chance he gets, he's not doing the little things. And we all know that if you want to get into the good favor of Steve Kerr, you have to do the little things. But on the flip side of that coin, we need him regardless if he's not doing those things or not, because we have the next 5 games against real young teams, and we need young to match not young. The one other thing I wanted to say, you guys are talking about this about 4 or 5 minutes ago, and you said, how can Steve Kerr do a better job? If you put one youngster in with the starters, it allows that youngster to learn how to play with the starters, because at the end of the day, we need those guys to know how to play with Steph and Clay. Draymond is not really that important to me when it comes to that, because the offense goes how Steph and Clay go. So if those guys only know how to play with each other, they're never going to learn how to play with.
But doesn't that require, Anthony, and we all agree, but doesn't that require one of those guys to suck it up for the team and come out?
I agree. I think it requires Steve Kerr just to do it. Just do it. I don't think Clay or Wiggins, they're all going to get their same allotted minutes. And thanks for the call, Anthony. They're all going to get their minutes. We're going to go with this substitution pattern. I want to get this guy involved here. I think they'll all be willing to sacrifice some minutes on the front end as long as they continue to get their allotted minutes per game. Whether Clay's playing 28 minutes a game, whether Wiggins is playing 30 minutes a game, whether Curry's – the one guy you don't want to mess with is Steph Curry when it comes to rotations.
Yeah.
Everything else is fair game. So that's on Steve Kerr. That's on Steve Kerr to integrate some of the youngsters, but so I was always like thinking, boy, you're making it seem like it's two teams with the mass substitutions. I thought that was the problem last year. Let some of these guys play, and now if they're not able to play with the starters, then you know what? You're just not going to play. But the mass substitutions is a little strange to me. I don't think that helps this team. But although the mass substitutions this year, the bench has been better than the starters.
Yeah.
By a long shot.
Well, that's why I know what you're saying, rotations better. To me, I'm going straight to the starting lineup. I would start there. I would tinker something with the starting lineup. I don't know if it means removing Looney. I don't know if it means removing or swapping out Clay or Wiggins or whatever, but I would be open to any of those things. And then now you can stagger all the minutes and everything else from that kind of drops into place. So that's the way I would do it, as opposed to sticking with the starting lineup and then tinkering who's coming out when or whatever. I would start with the starting lineup because to me, I think they need wholesale changes, right? I think they need it from start of the game to the end of the game. They need to be open to everything.
No, absolutely. Let's go to April in Brentwood. April, good morning.
Hi, April.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Not too bad. I'm kind of sick of this APEC event already, April. It's kind of screwing up my routine, but go ahead.
Okay. There's so many things I want to say, but I guess I don't know if we all understand how important Draymond is to Steph's game, right? Steph is at his best with Draymond by his side. So that's why Draymond is still with the team. That's what I believe. Draymond used to give me anxiety when he's on the court. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is Draymond going to do today?
He doesn't give you anxiety anymore?
Now I accept Draymond because I don't have a choice. Right? Yeah. The team re-signed him. I would have preferred for them not to have re-signed him, and gotten someone else, but that's not the reality. He's there. He's there to stay. I mean, what are they going to do? Trade him? No, right? So I think mental health is a real thing, and that needs to be addressed. Draymond needs anger management. Like, seriously, not even as a joke. He needs anger management. He doesn't know, once he gets angry, it's over.
Thanks for the call, April. Maybe he does. I don't know. That's he's got to decide on that. The Warriors have to decide on that, but that's not my lane to bark up. I mean, maybe they have people in house. I don't know. I don't know if it's a mental health thing, but he's got to look, man. You want to protect Clay, that's fine. But you knew it was going to be bad when you saw the chokehold. You saw the images. If we saw the images, you don't think Secaucus saw the images? You don't think the league offices saw all those images? You don't think the league office had all those different angles? What was going on with Draymond Green and Rudy Gobert? And really, it started with Klay Thompson and Jaden McDaniels. They got fined $25,000, by the way. Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, Klay Thompson. They all got fined $25,000. You could say Rudy Gobert put his forearm around Klay's neck. He didn't have a chokehold. Rudy Gobert wasn't going to choke anybody. Come on, Rudy Gobert's soft. He's not going to choke anybody. Let's be real. Come on, let's be real with ourselves. All right? Once you saw Draymond Green come from the back, over the top, and especially, you don't think the league office is another thing, too. You don't think they looked into history between Draymond Green and Rudy Gobert?
Of course they did.
So what do we, whether it's anger management, I don't know.
Can I ask you about that? Because we hear this a lot from fans. Steph's best version is alongside Draymond. No, Draymond's best version is alongside Steph. Yeah. I think we need to kind of recalibrate.
It's almost disrespectful to Steph and Curry.
I find it extremely disrespectful to Steph Curry. I mean, it's kind of absurd. Steph's great with everyone.
Right.
I mean, Steph was great with KD. He was great with Klay Thompson. He's been great in small spurts with CP3. He was great alongside Jordan Poole. He was great in the All-Star game by I Steph Curry is an all-time legend. Come on. Not that they aren't good together. Of course, they're prolific together.
They're all-time great.
But we act like Steph couldn't operate without Draymond Green. I think it's the other way around.
Yeah, they're all-time great. They're all-time great.
If Steph went to Detroit, wouldn't you think of Detroit differently? Okay, now if Draymond goes to Detroit, wouldn't you think differently of Draymond?
Yeah, probably.
Come on. One is the sun, and the other is rotating around the sun. Well, and that's not a disrespect. That's called being realistic.
I want to give credit to April, though, April in Brentwood, because she said, look, I was willing to move on from Draymond Green. But it is what it is now. We have to live with it. And that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
We have to live with it. We have to live with the consequences for all the good that he does, because he does a lot of good for this basketball team. We have to live with the bad. And does the bad outweigh the good these days?
Do you think
on this team?
Yeah, do you think
the bad
it
outweigh
does?
the good? I'm close to saying it does. Because
the bad outweighs the good.
Because you need Draymond Green.
I know.
And hasn't been there for a guy who was just talking about accountability on Sunday. That happens a minute 43 into the game. All right? You got kicked out of the Cleveland game and they baited you. And then you sit the Instagram post. And it's like, gosh, just maybe less is more sometimes. Now, Draymond said he's going to be Draymond Green. Now, I don't want to change him because he plays at that edge. That's what makes him who he is. But now, is it a detriment to this team? Because Klay's out of his prime. He's not in his prime anymore, folks. It's done. All right? The injuries have sapped every bit of athleticism. It sapped his great defense. It is what it is. Injuries and Father Time were undefeated. And I feel bad for Klay Thompson because he's fighting through it. He's fighting to try to find it.
No, it's not for a lack of effort.
Right. So that's why it's hard for me to get on because Klay's playing his ass off. Wiggins, I saw him trying to fight through it on Tuesday night. But damn. We get Draymond Green getting kicked out of 2 of the last 3 games, and then you're poking the bear. And Anthony Edwards, he said it all summer. I'm coming at Draymond Green. I'm coming at him. And you know what? Donovan Mitchell came at him. These teams they no longer fear the Warriors, man. We're in a bad spot right now.